So what's next for Alton Towers? You may have seen recently that Bianca Sammut is stepping down from her vice president role. In this video, I'm Scott, this is Steve, and we are going to be talking about that subject and what's next for Alton Towers. So firstly, Steve, what do you make of the news about Bianca?
I actually think it is sad news. Someone who clearly had ambition and wanted to make big changes. Now, personally, I don't think that those changes that she had in mind have been allowed to. I think that the Merlin company as a whole haven't allowed her to do what she wanted to do with the place, and that's just going to like build up frustration. And I think that she's probably chosen the right thing by leaving. If your ideas and your suggestions and what you want to do with the park are not being listened to, why keep putting yourself out there? And I have noticed the past 12 months she has taken a bit of a step back of being the face of Alton Towers as such. It kind of aligns with when Scott left. I think that maybe she's not been getting that backing that she maybe had when she first took on the role.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't leave. It was Scott O'Neill.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting situation because I think we had an event in September 2023 at Towers, one of our enthusiast days, and Bianca did a talk and a Q&A, and this is my vision for Alton Towers. And I noticed she did that with a couple of the coaster groups that had events around that time. And clearly the good intentions were there. The risk you always take in that position is if you make yourself the face of a company, you are unfortunately opening yourself up to criticism. And in some ways, it reminds me of a football manager situation where you go into a football club, say Man United, for example, and you have got this amazing reputation of being one of the best managers in the world, and you're saying, we're going to win this, we're going to do that, I'm going to implement this style. And then after 6 months, you're losing every week, and then it comes to a transfer window, and your bosses are like, we've got no money, you can't improve the team, you've got to work with what you've got. That's kind of the situation I think that Bianca found herself in at Towers, where she had a lot of good ideas and wanted to do things. Like one of the ideas that I really liked was having the entertainment around the park, and it made a massive difference. Like going to Towers and having the characters at Gloomy Wood, characters by Nemesis, it just added a bit of atmosphere. And if the queues were massive, but you didn't want to do the rides, but you wanted to go into that area, there was a reason to go, because it was like, do you know what, I'm going to go and interact with the gravedigger at the Curse of Alton Manor, or I'm going to go and chat to the bus driver by Nemesis. But that was all stripped back towards the end of last year, and all of a sudden you just felt the park go flat as a pancake.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that she did actually bring in these actors.
Yeah.
She did actually encourage this extra theming and extra enhancements to the park with the actors. I don't think she wanted them to go.
No.
Personally, I think that this is a Merlin thing, and as we've recently seen that Merlin have made a $500 million loss, I believe, a 500 million a loss.
Was it that much?
It was that much.
I thought it was 250.
I don't know. What I read was 500. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I've been busy. I might have misread.
I don't know for sure, but I know that it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and I think that especially when they're charging premium prices, in my opinion, they should be making quite a lot of money. I think that maybe that the recent changes in Blackpool with the midway attractions, with the tower and the dungeons. What else was it? There's something else going under the council ownership there, I believe.
Sandcastle that happened a while ago. Sandcastle, and then obviously Sea Life, Blackpool Tower, Waxworks.
Yeah, we've kind of moved away from the subject there, but I think that the issue with Alton Towers as such is not necessarily an Alton Towers localized problem. I think it is a wider Merlin problem.
Yeah, probably. I mean, one of the big issues for the whole across the board situation is food. Like, they went from being a park that had really good catering options to a park that is basically serving filth. Yeah. Because a lot of the food that's been on offer for the last 2 years is awful.
Yeah.
And it's got to the point where people with a Merlin pass are still going to Towers on a regular basis, or the other parks like us, and the people that go to Thorpe and Chessington regularly, they're going, but they're not spending money in the parks because the food's not very good. Now, secondary spend is massively important in this industry because it's like one of those things. Once you're in there, you're their captive audience. So what can we get you buying? Well, here's some merch, here's some food, here's some other stuff that you might want to buy. Now, I'll give you an example of like taking it away from Towers again. we're going to Thorpe soon. We looked at the fast pass prices, and it was like, even just for the most basic one, it was like nearly 70 quid. And it was like, it didn't even get you on Hyperion. And it's like the ultimate one was like, I could probably get flights to Florida for how much the ultimate one cost. And it was like, why are you charging that much? Surely encourage people to buy it and then rinse them by having good food, having good merch, and having good stuff around the park that people will be actively encouraged to buy. Because if you're selling fast pass, these people are not going to be in a queue as long. So therefore, they're going to have more time to spend money. But if they've already spent 250, 275 quid on a fast pass on top of getting in the park, they're going to be like, actually, we'll take cheese butties. We're not paying for food as well.
Yeah. And I think that the food offering across Merlin as a whole has been particularly disappointing. I've noticed over the past few years since the changeover of contract to the suppliers, the F&B, it's been just a gradual decline throughout the park, and there's been less and less places I've been willing to kind of go to eat there. And now, like, Towers is probably the worst one. Towers is like, there's nowhere I particularly want to eat at Towers these days. It's just that bad. Like, and that's disappointing because it was one of the best. So you've gone from being one of the best places for food to one of the worst. And that's such a quick decline over the couple of years. And I don't know how long they're locked into the contract for, but I'd be tempted to buy myself out.
Yeah.
As they must be losing loads of secondary spend. Like, if that's just me, how many other people are thinking the same thing? Like, oh, it's expensive and not very good.
I think Mark pointed it out in a recent vlog that we did at Towers that the actual visitor numbers were up for the Merlin parks and Towers especially, but the spending in the parks had come down.
Yeah.
That tells its own story. And the issue is as well, is obviously you've lost entertainment as well. Like last year, they removed Mardi Gras, which obviously people just went and got drunk on the lawns, which for me is pointless. But it was the same with Oktoberfest as well.
Yeah.
They'd literally stripped that back to the bare minimum, and people didn't want to sit on the lawns and actually watch the entertainment because it was so bad or just so limited that it was like, what's the point? We'll just do what we normally do. We'll just go on rides. But I think the issue is they've made everything so limited or restricted or just not very good that people are just not willing to spend the money on it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that it's kind of been milked too far is probably the best way to put it. It's all they've kind of want them profits, and well, I say profits, they're not making profits. I think they've taken it too far to the point where they're now getting the adverse effect of the quality's so bad that people are not willing to spend the money in the first place, which is kind of where I'm sat with Merlin at the moment. I just think that the quality is low and the prices are high. And when you're looking at the parks, they're starting to look very dated across all of them.
Yeah.
Even though Thorpe Park do have a new roller coaster, they haven't had a new roller coaster for how many years before?
2012.
It was a long time. Yeah, 2012 was Swarm, wasn't it, before that? So you've got to think, like, normally these parks would be putting in a big new roller coaster every 4 years, and now they seem to have gone away from that, and it just makes it a little bit less interesting to want to go to these parks, as you need to constantly invest. Like, what's the point in going back to, let's say Alton Towers when they haven't put a new ride in for, well, a new thrill ride since 2013. I know they've put Intoxicator. I'm just classing like the big ticket items here. So like
more coasters.
Roller coasters, yeah.
Yeah.
The roller coasters are what bring people in. I do think there is a place for rides like Toxicator at these parks, and again, that's another decline over the years leading up to Bianca's tenure at Towers. Yeah, the flat rides have been getting removed and removed and removed and removed, and that's been going on for like 20 years. To be fair, before she kind of got in, so I feel like she was left a bit of a bad deal to take over when she arrived. There's a lot that needed fixing at Towers when she took over.
Yeah, ultimately, and this might not be a popular opinion to say this, but Towers is not in a better place than it was when Bianca came in. Now, I think that, like I say, she did a lot of good stuff. Project Sparkle was a good idea. Getting the entertainment in was a good idea. Getting rid of the awful retro squad was a good idea because no matter how much they need the throughputs, Alton Towers having travelling fairground rides was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
Alton Towers is meant to be the UK's premier theme park with immersive themes and their own soundtracks to every area. And then you're walking around and you can hear like rock bands on a fairground ride with flashing lights. It's not Alton Towers.
No, it
And
wasn't Alton Towers.
It's like, what are you doing? So getting rid of that was a great thing. I didn't mind them getting rid of that at all. And for me, I said this in a couple of Towers videos, I don't really care for flat rides that much. So I'm not bothered if they've got them. What I feel like Towers lack more of is a good dark ride, other than Curse at Alton Manor, because they haven't got any, other than that are any good. You've got really, really bad water ride offering. You've got the rapids that are just a lazy river, unless you load the boat full of adults, like we did last week. You've got battle galleons that nobody wants to go on at any time of the year. And that's basically it. They never replace the log flume with another high capacity water ride that people want to go on. And yeah, you might say, well, the British climate is rubbish, but it isn't. We have a good amount of heat waves every summer now. We even get them randomly in April sometimes. And you go to these parks and you're like, I want to go on a water ride. And it's like, oh, well, your options are the rapids, which have terrible throughput now, and they don't get you wet. Or the other one is you go on battle galleons and your clothes are probably going to be ruined after it. So it's like...
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I do think that the water ride situation is disappointing in the UK. And the thing is, a water ride doesn't have to completely soak you.
No.
Like, there are examples out there of water rides that, like, I'd say River Adventure, Islands of Adventure, is a fantastic example of a water ride where you just get a light misting rather than a complete soaking. Like, I know sometimes you can get a soaking, but usually you just get a gentle misting over you when you hit the bottom there. And that just shows that the water rides don't have to be completely soakers. And I think a water ride like that would be ideal for the UK. Or maybe something where they can adjust the water level to maybe become a soaker in summer and, you know, reduce it. Well, to be fair, Toxicators a soaker now if you want about water rides. I was watching that last weekend.
No thanks. But this is the problem. You've got two extremes. You've got a water ride that doesn't get you wet at all. Yeah. And then you've got one that gets you Valhalla levels of wet. And it's like, where's the one in the middle? Because that's what the log flumes were back in the day. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can sort of manipulate a log flume to get you drenched by having a large boat, which we sometimes do on our events if there's a log flume there. But in general, like, I've experienced this for myself. The log flume was one of the most popular rides at Towers, and I regularly had 2-hour queues at ride close in the summer. Even on a day where you've got grey sky and it's a little bit, you know, there's a bit of a breeze there, people will be like, log flume, we're doing it last. Yeah. And whereas now it's like, well, what's your water ride alternative? The other thing with Towers, and I think this is the issue Merlin have got, and whoever comes in and replaces Bianca's got, the ride lineup is aging. The roller coaster ride lineup is aging, and it's not very good. At the time of upload, Rita might be back open. I don't know for sure. But you've got that's had constant downtime this year. You've got Nemesis Reborn that's riding like a pneumatic drill. You've got Galactica that we've seen for ourselves has had so many downtime issues when we've even tried to go on it. And it's like, there's 3 of your big hitters straight away. Oblivion's throughputs, you won't like me saying it, are rubbish because you spend most of the time sat on the brake run. They've got to fix that. They've got to make decisions. They've got to be ruthless. Things for me, things like Oblivion should probably be replaced when they reach the end of service life. But what are you going to replace them with?
That's the thing. With Oblivion, you're kind of stuck, aren't you? Yeah. Particularly, I'd say you're probably more stuck than Nemesis. Yeah. Is what the only thing to do is fill in the tunnel, really, I suppose, and put something else on it. But it's going to be a shame if when that comes to, well, like you say, the end of life's approaching for a lot of these coasters now, with Oblivion and obviously Galactica probably next on the list of needing attention. So and Galactica's actually the oldest flying coaster out there. So there's going to have to be some investment. And I think that Project Horizon would have been a good stepping gap with that, because it would have ticked off a new coaster and a new dark ride experience, which is what they really need there. Indoor attractions are really needed in this country with the weather being so unpredictable. So it's a shame that seems to have been knocked on the head, especially after the losses that have been announced. I don't see it going ahead. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do go ahead with it. I think that to let an opportunity like that slip by would be incredibly disappointing.
Yeah, I think it's been cancelled from reading between the lines of little bits of info that's out there. I think it's done. I don't think it's going to happen. I also don't think it's the ride that Chessington are building either. I think it's two separate projects. I know they look similar on paper, but I think Chess's was going ahead anyway and is going ahead. But yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, I don't know if you class Nemesis Reborn as a new coaster, but I personally class it as a retrack. I didn't add it onto my coaster count when we went on it again, because even though it was an expensive project, it was still a retrack.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the popularity of it speaks for itself. We said many a time in 2019 and 2018 when we were doing vlogs at Towers, and even in 2020, I suppose, when all the rumours were out there about, oh, they're going to close Nemesis for good, I was like, good. Because as good as it is, it's not a draw for people anymore. It was always walk on. Now you could say, yeah, it's got good throughputs, but the interest wasn't there. Now, it's still the same now. You go into Towers and basically all you're doing is walking around that massive queue and getting straight on it. And I'd say that the throughputs on it now compared to what they were are not great, because it always seems like the station is just the panicking to load the train every time because of where the new merge point is.
Yeah, it's a little bit close, isn't it, to the station, a bit harder to judge. But one of the things that I did find quite interesting is that Nemesis was the first of its kind, and to be fair, Oblivion, first of its kind. It was one of the first. I think there was one before Nemesis, wasn't it?
Nemesis was the third one.
The third one.
Yeah.
But it was still at the pioneering edge of like that coaster type. And Oblivion was the first, and Galactica was the first of its type. So
yeah,
then that trend seems to have stopped because we've missed the RMC trend.
Good.
And it looks like we're going to miss the Intamin mega coaster.
We've missed the Vekoma trend with all their new stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, why are we not getting this new interesting kit that's going all around the world? Why are we not getting any of it in the UK? Personally, I think there's nothing wrong with having travelling rides at a theme park. Now, Alton Towers did actually have a number of travelling rides historically from the 80s, like a breakdance. You had the twirling toadstool, chair swing ride, Enterprise, Blade. So we had a few of those. But the thing is, they were done in a way that was tasteful. They were put in a way that was tasteful. Now, I don't know why Merlin just don't buy a job lot of flat rides. If then you could move them around between the different parks.
I thought you were advocating the return of the retro squad.
Absolutely not.
That's why I was smirking.
No, absolutely not. I do think that having a transportable flat ride is a good idea, but obviously theme it.
Yeah.
You need to theme it. You can't just like dump in a concrete slab and put a ride on it and go, there you go, there's your new ride, because it looks a bit naff. But like the toadstool kind of looked in place, and that was the Ugg Swinger before that. So it shows that they can change these things up to look better, and they didn't look out of place. So I feel like that's the way to go if you want flat rides. It's a lot cheaper than putting in like the foundations for fixed attraction, and you can make them look good. I've got nothing against that. If you want to mix up the lineup quickly, I guess the turnaround time on those would probably be a lot quicker as well. And also planning restrictions can be a little bit easier for those types of attractions. But like, I think that investing so much money in something like Toxicator, you're making a big commitment there to keep that for a long time. If it flops, then you're stuck with this like flat ride that's cost a lot of money and you can't move it or redo anything with it. It's stuck there. So
yeah, I mean they literally put two giant concrete slabs there, haven't they? So it's not like it's going to be easy to just get rid of and move. So
no, that's a lot of concrete.
Yeah, and it looks rubbish as well. It really does. I've said it in our review video on opening weekend. I just don't think it looks very good.
Yeah, I think the concrete's a bit obtrusive, isn't it? But I actually think that the ride would look better just on the ground. Like a lot better if it was just flat. Like it would look. I like what they've done with the side of the ride, like quite a lot. Like the sides with the screens and everything. I thought it looked quite cool. But the whole like elevated up in the air doesn't really work for me. I don't even think it offers that much of a better vantage point than what you get from like Talakan or even the original Ripsaw.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think
no, you don't.
I don't like that ride type. To be fair, if we weren't doing YouTube stuff, then there was no way I'd have gone on it on opening weekend. I went on it because I knew I needed to do a review on it. But it was one that I knew I wasn't going to enjoy, but it was like, I better do it anyway, just for the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to put you on the spot now and go back to the original subject. You know, I like to put you and everyone else on the spot. Was Bianca's time at Towers a success?
I personally think so. On the staffing front, because I actually left Towers as a staff member just before she came in, and it was partly due to just how badly the staff were being treated. Like, we were running on a bare bones team, and it was stressful. Like during COVID, in 2021, with the restrictions that we had, and sending 13 with an average of 6 to 7 people per train was a frustration, and no support, and the place was pretty run down when that was the feeling I got when I left. I just couldn't hack it anymore, because I'm all about the guest experience. I wanted to see people have a good time, and that wasn't happening during the COVID times particularly, and it just became too much for me to really deal with. So I left and went on to do I actually do control systems now, and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. But I do miss it. I miss the people who I worked with there, and I think that since she came in, I think if she had come in a year sooner, I may still be there because of the changes that they were put in place.
I'm quite glad.
Like, because you got your friend doing videos.
Yeah, exactly. Got an excellent vlogger here with me, and I'm sure people in the comments will agree, because there's many positive comments about you many a time in the vlogs. You've elevated the vlogs. I've seen that many a time.
I wouldn't say that. I do like what we do though, and I like seeing these places, and you know, I am passionate about coasters, so you know, I'm just doing what I enjoy.
Good. And I'm going to say originally it started off as a success, because I think that the way that they started, like you say, they improved Bianca, it helped improve the environment for the staff, and I think originally for the guests it was better, but ultimately I don't think it was a success, because I don't think Towers is in a better place now than it was 2.5 years ago. And for me, it's got to the point where in the middle, it was a really good time to visit, because you could tell that the staff were happier, throughputs on the rides were better, just general efficiency in the park was better. But there is overall, I think Towers is now in probably in the worst place it's ever been in, as far as I'm concerned, as a visitor over the last 25 years. I don't think it's ever been as low as it is now. I'm sure the visitor numbers are still great. I'm sure at the end of the year it'll still look good with the numbers, and like Scarefest will do well, even though it'll probably be the same thing again. Fireworks will probably do well. But in my opinion, as someone that's visited a lot and worked for the company, I don't think it's ever been as low as it is at this point. Kind of compare it to United. They're both sleeping giants now. They should be doing better.
Yeah, no, I agree. They should be doing a lot better than what they have been doing. I don't think it's the worst it's been. I do think that like that period at 2020, 2021 during COVID was by far the worst time for Towers. But I see what you mean. Like, it's gone stagnant.
Yeah.
I think they spent way too much money trying to get Skyride and Hex back open. The amount of time and money spent on Hex, personally, I probably would have just replaced it with a new one.
Yeah.
The mind boggles how much money that thing has sunk into it over the years. So it's, when do you call it a bad job, Well,
this is the thing, like, we've got this situation with Rita now where it's spending more time closed than open. It's like, yeah, I know you like it, I like it, and a lot of people have grown to like it over the years, because I think growing up and appreciating it for what it is what we've all done, because like we said in our vlog on Sunday, at the time of it opening, we were told it was the best ride ever. Yeah. And I'm looking at the same ride technology being built in America on similar type of attractions that are world record breaking coasters. I'm going, this thing is not the best thing ever. You can't convince me that this is even the best thing in its own park. Never mind the best thing ever. So I think it came attached with baggage. Yeah, a bit like 13. Yeah. 13 had the same baggage attached to it that, oh, this is the best ride ever. It's like, no, it isn't.
It's a very good ride. I think that I will be sad when Rita goes. I think it is inevitable that it will go at some point. Those coasters are very complicated. Sourcing the parts is becoming more and more problematic. Downtime like this is going to become more and more frequent between like Stealth and Rita and other ones around the world that are still going. I wouldn't be upset if they replaced it with a new modern Intamin multi-launch coaster because they are really fun, and I think it would be a very good replacement. But again, it's the planning. Like you're gonna have to keep it below tree height and work within certain constraints. But I would love to see a ride like that at Towers. I think that's really what they need at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I know you'd be potentially losing two coasters to do it this way, but I've said in other videos that I think what would be really cool is to actually replace Galactica with an Intamin sort of multi-launch coaster and kind of have it. I know people are getting bored of the Phalanx theme, but that is the theme of the area, so it needs to fit in. But I think it would be quite cool that if they themed it to sort of like a Phalanx experiment gone wrong, and the launch is kind of you escaping, kind of like Gotham City escape concept. You're escaping from the problems, and I feel like it would fit in really well. And then they can get rid of Rita eventually and find a replacement that's not obviously the same level of thrill, but they could just turn that whole area into a family area, and then you've got your two big thrill rides in Forbidden Valley.
Yeah, we're talking about investment here, a company that's not doing very well at the moment, so it's probably not going to happen.
Oh, no, it's not going to happen.
I'd love to see something happen, but I think at the moment you're going to see just like band-aids being put on things to kind of keep them going for now. So I do think Rita will return. I just think they're struggling getting the parts.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it's going to be limped on until the end of the season, and then that's when a tough decision is going to be made. The thing is, in the situation of Rita going and Project Horizon coming in, it could have been the point where people like you are, I'm sad about Rita going, but hey, at least I've got Project Horizon. And there was a lot of talk it was going to be an Intamin. So you're potentially replacing an old school Intamin coaster with one of their new gen things, like something, I don't know, it might have been like Uncharted at PA. Now, okay, the capacity on that is rubbish, but if you get a ride like that with good capacity, I think, and with a space theme, that'd have been ace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so much, it's a missed opportunity if they don't go ahead with it. I think that getting the planning, particularly in that location, I don't know how they've done it. I would have, just put something in, whatever you put inside that building, just build the building.
Yeah, exactly. Just put the photos in for the building.
Exactly.
Make the start, and then see if you've got the money down the line. But from what I've heard, that is done. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. Now, the issue with that is, like I say, we're now in a situation where Rita is potentially going to go in the next year or two, maybe, because it is going to be on life support now. And like we've said before in videos, surely it's not that far away from this situation. Just look at the history of these coasters and not lasting much longer than the age Rita is.
Well, it's all about money.
Yeah.
Anything will carry on running as long as you're willing to put money into it. Money talks.
Absolutely.
But at what point is it becoming too much?
Yeah.
And I think that it's approaching that end now. With these extended downtimes, showing it's harder to source the parts. It's like I say, it's going to be something we see more and more frequently.
So, coming to the end of this sort of whole subject, let's just wrap it up with, what would you do with Alton Towers in the short term? If you're that person that's walking in the door, replacing Bianca, and you've got to make some decisions straight away, what are you doing to improve Alton Towers for, say, 2026 or 2027?
Immediate short term, there's probably not much you can do, but I would definitely greenlight Horizon straight away and get that going. Whether it's going to be a roller coaster in there, don't know. But I'd just get that building built, ready for another attraction, because you're never going to get that kind of plan permission again, in my opinion. I'm shocked they got it in the first place. So
yeah. I think I'd agree with that, but I'd also be looking at saying to Merlin, you need to give us the money to get the ride availability fixed. We need new engineers. We need to keep the ones we've got. We need a bigger team. So the guys that are here are doing a great job already. They can't cope with a massive workload that we're asking them to do with such a small team. So you need to give me the money to employ more engineers to get these rides running how people expect them to run. So when people are turning up Alton Towers in the summer, they're not posting on Twitter and a few hours into the day, we're here, it's rammed, and 6 out of 10 coasters are shut or whatever, because I've seen that on socials a lot over the last 18 months where people are like, I'm at Towers, doesn't feel that busy today, but because this ride, and this ride shut, these rides are really busy. Yeah.
I think that a few quick wins can be done pretty quickly, like bring back ERT, bring back that bit of magic for hotel guests and pass holders. That extra hour in a day can really make someone's day, especially if you've gone on an ERT, with your annual pass or with staying in a hotel, you've already done Nemesis and
Yeah,
other coasters, and it means you can have a more relaxed day and spend a bit more money because you've already done those
exactly.
coasters. You got more time to enjoy yourself. So I do think that the cut of the ERT has taken away a bit of that magic.
Yeah, and the last one, which is very niche, sort Scarefest out.
Yeah,
It's not difficult. Like literally, get the budget for the actors, have more sort of roaming characters, have the scare zones back. They don't have to be terrifying. Just bring some atmosphere back to the walkways and change the damn lineup.
yeah.
Like at least the attic's gone. I think it was one of the tower sites reported that the attic is gone. Like it's been knocked down and everything. So good. About time that went. It was long overdue. But also take the wrecking ball to Altonville Mine Tours as well. But I actually think that the residents of that maze have actually moved in. It's been there that long. But honestly, that lineup needs sorting. Like for me, like you say, Greenlight Horizon, sort out the budgets for engineering. I'm not saying the engineers in the park are not good because they are. They do a great job. I saw that 20 odd years ago when I was there. You've seen it, you've been part of it.
Yeah.
The guys that are there are great, but they need help. They need support. So give it to them. And then we're not going to see all these ride availability issues. And thirdly, sort Scarefest out because at the end of the day, it makes a lot of money for them, but it could make even more money if it's better and the word of mouth for it is great. Fright Nights changes every year. People love it. Not every enthusiast loves Fright Nights, but the general public love it. But mix it up every year with a new maze and it keeps people going back for it because it's always something new for them. So I know you don't care about Halloween. But
Don't really. No. Do what you want. I'm all about the coasters.
the thing with the Halloween, though, is it has been proven that across the industry, Halloween now is just as popular as summer.
Yeah, well, I know firsthand. Like I've been to Universal with you last year, and I've been to Fright Nights before when it's been absolutely. Well, to be fair, it's usually at capacity is probably the best word. So very very busy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all from us for now. Let us know in the comment section below what you would do with Alton Towers if you were the person walking in and replacing Bianca. Also, do you think her time at Alton Towers was a success? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give us a like. It's a thumbs up below. And a quick shout out actually for Jack Silkstone and his mates. They've brought back the Launch podcast. It's better than our setup. But it is live,
Well.
and they do have a ride operator. But yeah, go and check it out on a Thursday. But otherwise, that's all from us for now. Many thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.